Hello and welcome back to the Chattercade podcast, where I discuss media in the forms of reviews. I'm your host, Dranky Thomas Shoes, and I'm going to apologise for my voice. It picked up a cold, or it's because I've been spring cleaning, even though we're in the close to winter. So the dust has really affected my nose, and my voice is really groggy because of it. So we're just going to try and brush past that as best we can. So obviously today I'm returning back to the Man-Eater series, continuing on from where we left off last time. Obviously we covered the 4th entry, Man-Eater. We're now covering the 5th entry in the series, Something Beneath, which was released in 2007. And I rewatched it. I think I rewatched it because I did not remember any of that whatsoever. So for me, mentally, it kind of felt like it was the first time, but I swear I've watched it on TV before. But I could be wrong. So we're just going to imagine I have watched it and I just couldn't remember fucking anything about it. As I said, so there's a 5th entry in the Man-Eater series, and it was directed by a director called David Winning, who, like the director of Man-Eater, basically done a couple of entries in this series. Obviously, the guy Man-Eater did another entry. This guy did 2 more entries, but he also did a lot of straight-to-TV, crappy-ass Christmas movies or romance movies. So they're both in the same sort of category of director. But unlike that guy, this guy actually did handle a big project before. And I say big project because the IP the project's attached to is fucking massive. And it has been since the 90s. Because he directed the second Power Rangers movie, Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, which obviously I covered years ago, about 2-3 years ago now, was it? So obviously, that's like, obviously, especially back in the 90s, that was a big deal because that was technically the pilot for the latest season. So, I mean, that's his biggest work to date, as everything else has just been either low-budget sci-fi movies or these straight-to-TV, crappy-ass Christmas romance movies. So the movie stars Peter McNeil, who is going to be in the upcoming Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein adaptation, which I'm looking forward to. That does look pretty decent. He also played Lex Luthor's dad Lionel in the TV series Titans. We have Natalie Brown, who was in the TV show The Strain. She was the main character's ex-wife, I believe she was. And obviously, just like Peter McNeil, she has another Guillermo del Toro connection, because obviously... So she has more than just a Guillermo del Toro connection, because she, just like him, was in an episode of Hudson and Rex. So they've both got a Guillermo del Toro connection and a Hudson and Rex connection. What else we got? We also have Brendan Beiser, I think that says. My eyes are, I haven't long woke up, so my eyes are just not with it at the moment. Who was in multiple episodes of The X-Files. And then obviously, just like all these entries apart from the second, there's an established star in this one. This time, instead of an established movie star, we have an established TV star. Because we have Kevin Sorbo, who was Hercules back in the 90s. And there's a few Hercules movies, but he's more famous probably for the Hercules TV show, which I never watched. But I just know him from that. And obviously, when I was looking through the cast, I couldn't find the Assassin's Creed connection this time, like I did the previous other times. But the closest we did get was obviously Natalie Brown was in Far Cry 3. So to me, that's basically the same thing. So we're going to go with that. I hope my mouse doesn't fall off because I've got it in a precarious position, so I can scroll down my notes. Honestly, though, I think at the first 5 entries, you usually say 3rd time's a charm, but in this case, it's 5th time's a charm. Because what I've been complaining about is I want at least a mid-card movie, and so far the closest we got was obviously in The Spider's Web. That was the closest we got to a mid-card movie, but it still wasn't a mid-card movie. But for me, this is the closest, but this is a mid-card movie, which is what I wanted from this series, because it is the best of the 5 so far. I mean, it's not a masterpiece, and there's a few things I would have tweaked to improve it, but overall, it definitely is the best of the 5, because obviously, they kind of go the Blood Monkey route, where the monster is saved for the last act, trying to stop my mouse from falling off. Please don't fall off. Just don't move. Obviously, they saved the monster reveal for the last act, and it's understandable because just like Blood Monkey, their monster is this CGI creation. Thing is that with Blood Monkey, they probably could have just made a practical suit and gone with that. Whereas this, I can understand why they need CGI, and I say they knew their budget constraint was this CGI is going to be only for this scene because it's not the greatest CGI, so we have very limited use of it. So it's like, okay, how can you work around that? And I think they do a really good job of working around it because the whole point of this is the main focus is this black goo that keeps appearing, and if it gets on your skin, it causes you to see your greatest fears. And that's interesting because obviously it adds the more mystery angle. Because obviously, if you look at the poster, if you look at the title of the movie, you're not going to know what the monster is. If you look at all the other ones before this, let's say Blood Monkey, In the Spider's Web, Maneater, missed one completely there, Grizzly Rage, jumped over one entirely. You look at the title, you look at the poster, you know what you get into. Blood Monkey, to an extent, you don't see what the fucking monstrosity is in that the poster, but you can understand it's going to be some sort of ape or monkey based. So when you're looking at the poster for this, there's a couple of posters. I mean, the one that I was looking at for this is the one with the woman, obviously in like some green goop and like some weird hands coming out grabbing her. There's another one where there's like two people walking with flashlights. It's like, okay, I don't understand what the fuck this is about. Like I say, it's probably something underground, but that's it. There's no look at what the monster actually is, and that's good. And so then in the title is very mysterious because it's just called Something Beneath. It's not called Giant Tentacle Monster that spews black goo underground, which would be a shit title, honestly. So I like the fact that it's a mystery angle. You don't know what it is until the last act, and your main focus here is this black goop. Because honestly, before I watched it, I thought it was, my brain was going somewhat blob related, like the film The Blob. But as I was going through, I was like, yeah, it kind of is. And then obviously I saw a picture of the monster beforehand. And I was like, okay, no, it's not. So it's a good job they did that because I say the CGI isn't the greatest in this monster, but they do a good job of keeping it very mysterious until the end when you finally see it. So I will give them credit on that. I mean, the acting, with these films, I'm not really going to always criticize the acting unless there's something like blatantly obviously bad or blatantly obviously great. It's again another decent enough job for a straight to TV movie. But I'm not sure why they made the established actor his character a priest, because obviously the whole point of this is it's like a environmental conference that's been obviously organized by this priest character, and then using the hotel for their conference. Obviously, this hotel's been built on the ground, which has issues, and issues were pointed out before they built the building, which is the whole point in the intro, but it got ignored, and obviously that's where the monster lives. And obviously he's created this conference, but I don't know why they made him a priest, because that never really intertwined into the plot line. Like, it wasn't like blatantly. I mean, the closest you got was the fact that the main character, apart from him, she was like obviously has a fear of dogs, but she kind of doesn't trust priests because the guy, obviously the dog that attacked her was owned by a priest. So that's the closest you get to intertwine into the plot line. But actually, other than that, like that whole plot line of him being a priest does not need to be in this movie. They could literally just had him as a regular guy or a regular environmental activist, and that would have been fine. But the only thing about it was funny was the fact that when the two women obviously are looking at him and like, oh yeah, this guy looks hot, and then he takes his jacket off, like, oh, I feel that's the only time that plays into a decent enough obviously moment with him. But as I just feel like they could have took that out and it wouldn't have affected the movie whatsoever. And then on top of that, there's obviously a plot line where the guy who's the head of security is the former cop, who basically apparently was a bit of a dodgy cop back in the day, and he has history with the main character, obviously the established star, the priest character, and basically they interact once, and you can see that beef from the cop's perspective. At least you don't really see much anger from the priest's perspective, and they don't really go into that much, like their former history. It's just literally one scene, then they're together at the end, helping try and stop the monster. It's just like, you could have maybe played more into the plot there, and I feel like that's like a couple of the things that do let this movie down from being any higher than mid-card movie. So a few tweaks there here and there, and we'll get beyond the mid-card status, but I'm just happy that I got a fucking mid-card out of this franchise. What else we got here? Obviously, I like the psychological horror aspect. It's somewhat different for this franchise. So far, we've had 4 movies before this where obviously all the killings are pretty much done either by a person or an animal. And it's like, okay, I don't mind a little change in pace here and there. Because obviously the whole point of this is, as I say, if you get the black goo on you, you start seeing your greatest fears. As I said, the main actress, she was seeing like this wolf dog. The guy at the start was seeing bulldozers trying to kill him, because obviously he feared that basically he was going to get found out because he was sleeping with his boss's wife, I think it was. And obviously I think the model character, the actor, the famous person, because she's meant to be like a famous personality, she saw basically herself getting really old, I think it was. I think that's what that was meant to be. And obviously she feared basically losing the spotlight because of stuff like that. And that's something different, as I say. It's not, you only really see this creature kill one person, like physically itself. It's mainly its goo that does the damage because it causes the person to eventually kill themselves. And as I say, that's something different. It's a change of pace for this franchise. That's main focus is killer animals or killer beasts. So I like that, and I like the psychological aspect, because I say you don't really get to see the deaths again in this one. Most of it's obviously the aftermath / the build up, but I think they handle the build up better in this one rather than just like someone jumps at someone. I think they handle the build up better because it's more drawn out. It's more dealing with the psychosis of them seeing what they fear. So then you see the aftermath of, for example, the one guy falls off, obviously off a hillside and he gets impaled. I see another guy whose jaw is like kind of like mangled and broken. I don't know exactly how that one happened. That one I'm gonna brush over. You see the woman who smashes herself into a glass, a mirror to obviously, off herself. You see a guy light himself on fire, like stuff like that. Like a lot of times it is the build up. I think you do get to see like the fire one at least on screen, but a lot of it's the build up, and then there's you see the body afterwards. And so though I'd like to see some of this on screen, I'm going to allow this one to be off screen because the build up is perfect. What else we got? Oh, yeah, obviously, on top of that, the kills. I feel like they're spaced out enough. I'm gonna put my mouse down there. I don't need my mouse anymore. I feel like the kills are spaced out enough that the pacing of this movie is fine. I mean, we're in the first hour of the movie, because it's an hour and a half. Within the first hour, you've got at least 4 of these psychological moments, and I feel like that allows that's fine for pacing. It's not all left until the end, like with obviously Blood Monkey, where it was like literally right at the end, and that's when it all sort of kicked in. This one is pretty much consistent, maybe like every 20 minutes, maybe even less than that actually, which is good. That's what you want with one of these. You don't want to just drawn out and everything happen at the end. You don't want everything happening all at once. You just want it, a consistent every now and again something happens, and that's what this does. I think what fully does let this movie down though is its ending, because you got all these. It's all leading to them going to this monster's den, which is the sewers. Because you've already been in the sewers and you've already seen some sort of weird face in the wall with these two, obviously, maintenance workers, where there's a whole House of the Dead reference, because the one kid played House of the Dead and he starts seeing all these zombies attacking him, which is pretty cool to watch. That's my favorite kill sequence. Uh, and as I said, then there's this weird monster that comes out the wall and grabs them. So it's all building up to them going to the sewers to encounter this beast, and that's where it all happens. But it's when they get there, obviously, there's this monster. This one guy locks him out and says, "Look, go do this, go escape. I'm gonna stay behind and just try and hold this thing back as long as I can." Don't know how he's really doing that. Um, it's more just him distracting one part of the creature. We're gonna look past that though. And I say he runs back and obviously deals with his greatest fear, obviously his big fuck up in life. And obviously when he leaves him to it, obviously another character gets killed by the actual monster because falls into its mouth. And then there's a whole moment where you're like, okay, another character's going to happen. And character sees like his fear of losing this character. And next minute, like kind of just out of the place after she's like dropped her pendant into its mouth. And it's just like, is that it? You're not really going to do a bit more with this monster. It's not really going to like come out with its, because I mean, it's clearly got tentacles. It's like, you're not really going to have it try and grab someone or anything. And it doesn't literally do anything apart from just sit there and spew its goo out. And I was like, maybe you could have done more with this ending. Maybe like a massive climactic ending where they blow up the monster or something like that. Or you at least think they blew up the monster, because obviously when they get out of this, obviously to the top world, and obviously it's real, obviously the monster is obviously the goo basically is getting further out, obviously above the ground now. It would have been interesting to see. I think it would have been interesting with that if obviously you thought it was dead, because I don't think you think it's dead unless I got distracted. Which I am very easily distracted. I think I just looking at it, I was like, fuck is this ending? Basically, they could have just done more of it, as because then it would have been like really impactful to see. Obviously, really like shocking when the monster's revealed to be, oh, it's still alive. Because I think it's more the fact that it was obviously, because I didn't really blow it up. It was more the case that she just dropped the pendant in. I'm gonna rewatch the ending though, because I'm pretty certain that's how it ended. Because if I fucking missed a piece and I'm complaining about the ending, then I apologize. But I'm pretty certain that's the ending, because I say I've read some of the reviews, people complained about the ending. So to me, I'm guessing I did see it correctly, and I wasn't just half asleep watching this movie. But still, as I say, they could have done more with that. So then it would have been more shocking at the end when it's revealed that it's still there. But let's say that's my main like big complaint really. Is the priest character does have the whole reason being a priest doesn't really play into the plot, so it's just like we didn't need to make him a priest. Apart from one gag, that's what you used it for. As I said, the ending, and then obviously the relationship between the priest and the ex-cop didn't really play much into it. But I do like the fact that this monster can technically control people. Like its fears can force people into doing stuff they don't want to do. Let's say like kill themselves, for example, or like the fact that the hotel manager, obviously when he gets it, obviously his eyes go black, and he goes into the sewers after the two cop characters and confronts them with a gun. Like that's something he doesn't want to do, but he's being forced to do it because of the goo from this monster, basically making him see things that he doesn't want to see, and it's like essentially puppeteering him without actually puppeteering him, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, as I say, those few tweaks would literally have fixed it. Not fixed this movie, but improved upon this mid-card movie for me. But as I say, I think overall it is the best of this series to this point. Because I've got plenty more entries in the series. I say I've got another fucking like, there's like 20 odd. I've lost track of how many in this series. There's fucking loads more to go. But to this point, this is the best the series has to offer. So maybe it's the case of I just need to not remember any of these movies whatsoever, and I have a better time. Because I say with the 4 previous ones, I had somewhat of a memory about them, i.e. the actor in them, the famous star of them, or the plot it was at least following. But with this one, I literally had no memory of it whatsoever. So I feel like maybe it's the case of just don't remember anything about this movie, these movies, and I'll be in for a good time, or at least It was alright time. Um, so as I say, I think as I say overall best of the series to this point. I like the psychological horror aspect. Uh, it was different. It changed the pace for this franchise, and I'm up for a little change of pace every now and again. Um, and I like the fact that they clearly knew they didn't have like a full use of this main antagonist. So it's just like, okay, do we just do a blood monkey and have like you see every now and again via like a quick shot in the, like in a distance or something, or do we try and work into the plot another aspect of this creature to allow us to keep using it without actually using it properly? And I like they understood that, and they did the best they could with what they had. And what else we got here? I say obviously them doing that as well. Obviously knowing how obviously to not show this monster because they can't really show it because I say budgetary reasons and just to be fair, I don't know how the fuck they would show this monster throughout the movie because what it is, it just I'm just like yeah, I don't know how that's going to appear throughout the movie. It just makes no sense. I mean, because the monster itself to me has a very similar look to an extent to the behemoth one that's coming down the line in terms of the ones I'm going to cover. But with that one, obviously, it's through the mountain. Obviously, it's causing earthquakes. You do see the tentacles come out the mountain every now and again. With this one, I don't see that from this monster, really. Because I say he doesn't really use his tentacles. It's more just spewing this goo out. And every now and again, just eating someone it falls into its mouth. Like, so I don't really see that with this movie. So I'm myself looking at it going, okay, I don't really know how they would use this monster properly other than this black goo angle. Like, I literally can't physically see it. But as I say, them doing that, it allows the mystery angle with the audience. It allows them to you to sit there and go, okay, what is this creature? Because it's clearly not just going to be this black goo. There's going to be something more to it. Like, what is spewing out this goo? And I like that it allows the audience to try and figure out what's going on as the movie's going along. And then when you finally get to it, because obviously you get that one shot, say, with the creature in the wall, like this black face, like, and hands in the wall. You're like, what the fuck is that? And you think, okay, that's the monster. Nope. Here's the actual monster. I like that it keeps you on the edge of your seat, trying to figure out what is actually going on here. And then you got the satisfaction of the end, obviously the proper end where the main bad guy himself gets the guilt on him, and you're just like, okay, that's satisfying. This guy's a dick. One of the few dicks in the film, and both of them basically get to see their fears. Obviously, you don't really get to the one guy, the end guy, but you can understand what's going to happen next. Yeah, what else we got then? And obviously, in terms of when the goo gets on them, and obviously they see their fears, they could have easily just done goo on them, and then have them scream or something because they've seen something, or like a slight shot of them seeing something, quick scream, and a cut to black, and then you see the body. I like that I didn't do that angle, like I say we did with Manny, to where you saw like maybe like a tiger jump, and then that was it. You saw the person's reaction, that was it. At least with this, they didn't go that route of goo, scream, cut to black. At least they actually dragged it out, the sequence, until the point of they're basically about to die, and then obviously then it sort of has them either get dragged away or something happens and it's a cut away, and then you finally see the body. I'm glad they went that route rather than just a cut to black. That to me is obviously a much better look for the movie than just to say something attaches to them, a scream, and that's it, you're done. I'm glad they actually went, okay, let's go with the psychological aspect. Let's get some weird like camera effects here, because there's some it's an interesting watch when they obviously get the goop on them, and obviously they sort of get transported into. Sometimes they get transported into like a different place depending on where their fear is, and they get to run around this place. That's kind of interesting and kind of unique to watch. So when the main obviously actress, she gets it on and she's in like this this rundown fucking cathedral. Obviously it's like ruins basically. She's sort of running around here with the wolf, but in reality she's just running around the basement getting chased by nothing. That to me, yeah, that's interesting. It's something different. It's not just them. So they did it with the one where she's just standing in the room and she's just seeing it. But I like the fact with all these ones, they're kind of transported to a different place. they're seeing it, and then bam, that's it. And I say then the best one, the payoff, obviously with the cop when he encounters obviously his basically worst moment in life. Yes, they're still in the same place, but it's a payoff of him acknowledging his mistake, but also kind of pointing out the fact that yes, he was wrong to do what he did, but in his mind he was right to do it because of the person was not a good person, and no, he didn't commit the crime that he got him for. He was a criminal because he did this other thing, and he didn't like him doing that. So this was his way of getting revenge, even if he did it the wrong way. So there's a few interesting ways they handled these nightmare sequences, which are pretty cool. So I think on that note, I'll give Something Beneath a 5 out of 10. I say it's a mid-card movie, which is what I wanted, and there's these few tweaks that would improve it. I said the ending definitely would have upped it another point, but I'm happy, to be honest, with a 5, finally. That's all I've been asking for these first couple of movies, is at least a 5-star one, and we're finally at that stage. So obviously, in terms of ranking, that's pretty simple. Something Beneath slots straight into the first spot. I'll give you a quick rundown of that. So obviously, we've got Something Beneath in first. We've got, actually, I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. We've got Blood Monkey in fifth. We've got Grizzly Rage in fourth. We've got Maneater in third. We've got In the Spider's Web in second. And we've got Something Beneath in first. Obviously, if you've seen Something Beneath 2007, because I think there's another film called Something Beneath as well. If you've seen the 2007 sci-fi movie Something Beneath, put your thoughts in the comments below. Obviously, you can check out the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Audible, Amazon Music, etc., etc. Obviously, you can check out the podcast on YouTube, where you get to see my ugly mug more often, including obviously all my gaming content, which hopefully, if it all has gone to plan, I've had a few issues, so I'm hoping it all has gone to plan. I'll be starting Ghost of Yotai. I would have started Ghost of Yotai this past Thursday. Hopefully Tuesday, if things have gone right. It just depends on if I manage to get that second episode working properly, which is why obviously I've been wearing my Ghost of Tsushima shirt, because obviously I've been playing Ghost of Yotai, but I've had issues with my computer while trying to sort it all out, and it's kind of fucked up episode 2, but hopefully Hayden can fix it, because I'm halfway through fixing it, and she just needs to come in and hopefully tweak a few things here and there. If not, I'm going to have to record the entirety of episode 2 once again, so we'll have to wait to see on that. So it's either going to be Tuesday or Thursday this past week, when I would have started the game. I say fingers crossed Tuesday, at latest Thursday, but obviously you can check that out. As I say, along with all my other content, which is available. Obviously, you can also check out the previous. I should say you can also check out, but I should say, please don't forget to check out the previous entries in this Maneater series. As I say, there's 4 to date, and there's plenty more still to come after this, including the next entry, which is Croc, which I do actually remember. I've seen it a few times, and I remember this one actually being another at least mid-card movie. So fingers crossed my memory is serving me correctly on that one. But other than that, I can't really think of much else that I really want to say. So I hope you've enjoyed my talk on Something Beneath. As I apologise for my voice. Hopefully, when it comes around to recording Croc, my voice will be better. But I do have the optional episode between now and Croc, debating if to do something, because I am going to watch. By the time this episode goes out, I would have watched that movie Good Boy. That obviously the horror film about the dog. I might talk about that. I've also finished watching Kaiju number 8 recently, so I might also talk about that. But I kind of want to rewatch that series from start to finish without any interruptions before I give a full verdict on that, because I might do that and Googler's Rangers Season 2 again. So I might save that one for a later date. So I say I might cover that Good Boy movie. I might not. It just depends. It just depends if I can get the time to actually sit there and record the episode. So we'll see. Basically, we'll see. Either that, or something else, or nothing. But the next guaranteed video will be Croc. So other than that, yes, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
If you like what you've seen, don't be afraid to throw us a little like and subscribe. That's always very appreciated over here. And, well, I'll see you on the next video.